Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into somatic healing, which is this really fascinating approach. It emphasizes how our bodies are super involved in processing emotions and trauma, too.
Right. It's this idea that trauma isn't just psychological. It actually leaves a physical mark, a physiological imprint.
Exactly. And our mission today is to explore how Chosn, the audio journaling app, can actually support this whole process, how it uses some of the core ideas from somatic therapy.
Yeah, because a lot of people know talk therapy, right? That's the usual go-to. But somatic healing offers something different, maybe complementary. It's really about tuning into those internal sensations, listening to what the body's telling us, that body wisdom.
Definitely a different angle. And for this deep dive, we've looked at insights from, the big names like Bessel van der Kolk, Peter Levine,
Yeah, pioneers in the field.
looked at somatic experiencing methods, and just generally how crucial the body is for trauma recovery.
So let's unpack it. What are we really talking about with somatic healing, the core concepts?
Okay, so the fundamental idea is that our bodies, they really hold on to experiences, especially the tough ones, the traumatic ones.
Right. And this isn't just metaphorical. It can show up as actual physical symptoms, tension, pain, or even emotional difficulties. It seems stuck.
Like that phrase, the body keeps the score.
Exactly. That's van der Kolk. It
Yeah.
really captures it.
And one really key idea here is the freeze response. It's more complex than just stopping, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Freeze is a critical survival response.
Yeah.
When fight or flight gets overwhelmed, maybe the threat is too big or inescapable. The system kind of shuts down into immobility or dissociation.
Okay.
But the energy that was mobilized for fight or flight doesn't just vanish, it gets trapped in the body. That's the key.
Right, that trapped energy. So how does something like somatic experiencing or SE tackle that?
Well, SE, which Peter Levine developed, is designed specifically to help regulate the nervous system and release that trapped survival energy.
How does it do that?
Yeah. It's about gently guiding awareness, helping you become aware of physical sensations, emotions, imagery as they arise without getting overwhelmed.
Gently is the key word there, I imagine.
Definitely. And while working with a trained therapist is often ideal for deep trauma work, some basic principles, like just noticing sensations in the present moment, can be really helpful for anyone to find calm.
You mentioned tuning into sensation. How's that different from just thinking about feelings?
Good question. It's about the felt sense. Eugene Gendlin coined that term. It's not intellectual analysis. It's more like a direct bodily awareness of a situation or feeling.
Like a gut feeling, or...
Sort of, but maybe broader. A tightness here, a warmth there, a general sense of unease or ease. It's noticing that physical texture of experience without judgment. Requires patience, gentleness.
And I've heard the term titration used in SC. What's that about?
Titration is crucial. Because trauma holds so much intensity, you don't want to flood the system. So titration means working with just small, manageable bits of the difficult sensation or memory at a time.
So dipping a toe in, not diving headfirst.
Exactly. Allowing the nervous system to process that little bit, maybe find some settling, before touching into the difficulty again. It prevents overwhelm and allows for gradual integration.
Okay, so it's not about pushing through the pain necessarily.
Not at all. And another big piece is creating new experiences, new sensory memories of feeling safe, grounded, supported. These act like antidotes to the old traumatic imprints.
That sounds like bottom-up regulation.
Precisely. You're using the body breath, movement, sometimes touch, to directly influence and recalibrate the autonomic nervous system, like taking a slow, deep breath sends a signal of safety right up the vagus nerve. That's bottom up.
Got it. Okay, so those are the core ideas. Now let's connect this to Chosn. How can using an audio journaling app actually be a somatic practice?
Well, it's interesting. Just the act of choosing to speak your thoughts and feelings rather than writing them can shift your attention. Sometimes writing engages the analytical mind more. Structuring sentences, finding the right words. Speaking can feel more immediate, more raw. It might bypass some of that cognitive filtering and connect you more directly to your internal state, your body sensations.
Yeah, I can see that. When I just talk, sometimes things come out that I wouldn't necessarily filter if I were writing.
Exactly. And hearing your own voice, that's a powerful feedback loop. It can bring a different kind of awareness to the emotions and the physical feelings tangled up with them.
And privacy is a big deal these days, especially with health apps.
A huge deal. Sharing vulnerable stuff, you need to feel safe. Using a dedicated app like Chosn, designed for this kind of private reflection, that can create a necessary container of safety. You're not worried about where your data might end up.
That sense of safety is probably key for allowing yourself to feel those potentially difficult sensations we talked about.
Absolutely essential. Feeling secure allows for vulnerability.
Okay, let's dig into the voice itself more. Chosn encourages vocal expression. How does using your voice, making sounds, tie into releasing stored emotions somatically?
Our voice is fundamentally connected to our emotional and physiological state. Think about it. We sigh, we groan, we laugh, we might shout. These are natural somatic releases.
True. We don't think about it, but they are physical acts.
Right. And so consciously using sound, maybe not even words, just sound, it can be incredibly liberating. It's a way to directly access and move energy that might be stuck. Some therapies focus specifically on this, using the voice to express and release.
Like that VU exercise you sometimes hear about in S2E1.
Exactly. The VU sound.
Yeah.
It's this low resonant sound, like a foghorn way off in the distance.
Yeah.
You make the sound and try to feel the vibration in your chest and belly.
What's the purpose of that vibration?
It's thought to be inherently calming for the nervous system. That low-frequency vibration can stimulate the vagus nerve, promoting that parasympathetic rest and digest state. It helps you notice physical comfort.
And recording that in Chosn.
Could be really interesting. You could track how it feels over time, maybe use your own recording as a sort of guided practice to settle yourself. It becomes a personal tool.
Which brings us to the idea of self-direction. Chosn put you in charge of your own process, right? Especially with harder stuff.
Yeah, that's a major benefit. As a personal journal, you control the narrative. You decide what to talk about, when, how deep to go. That agency is incredibly important, especially if you're exploring trauma.
Because in therapy, sometimes you might feel pushed, or maybe you push yourself too fast.
It can happen. Good therapy manages pacing carefully, but the self-directed nature of journaling offers inherent control. You set the pace, you decide the level of intensity, which minimizes the risk of re-traumatization, that feeling of being overwhelmed again by the past experience.
And you mentioned titration and gradual processing. There's another related idea, pendulation. How might Chosn help with that?
Pendulation is that natural rhythm of healing. It's gently moving attention between something difficult, a challenging sensation, a traumatic memory, and something that feels resourceful or safe, like a feeling of groundedness or a pleasant memory.
Okay, like swinging back and forth.
Kinda, yeah, a gentle oscillation. With Chosn, you could listen back to an entry where you explored something tough. Feel into it a bit. Then maybe you pause and shift your attention to your feet on the floor, or listen to another entry where you talk about feeling calm or happy.
Ah, so you use the entries themselves as resources.
Exactly. You use the archive of your own experiences to facilitate that pendulation. It helps integrate the difficult material without getting stuck in it. The aim isn't necessarily to relive the pain, but to gently activate those physiological resources for healing that might have been overwhelmed at the time. You're building resilience bit by bit at your own pace.
That makes a lot of sense. And to make this even more concrete, let's talk about some examples. Peter Levine has that story about Nancy, right? The woman with paralysis.
Yes, that's a powerful one. Nancy was trapped in a freeze response after trauma, experiencing paralysis. Levine didn't focus just on the story, but on the body. He encouraged her to notice even tiny impulses towards movement, like the feeling of wanting to run.
And that helped.
It did. As she connected with that thwarted escape energy, even just imagining running, the paralysis began to release. It beautifully illustrates that the body knows how to heal, and the very energy used for survival can be harnessed for healing later on.
Wow. And Bessel van der Kolk, his work constantly points back to the body, doesn't it?
Absolutely. His core message is that trauma fundamentally changes our physiology. Healing, therefore, has to involve changing that physiology back. It's about teaching the body that it's safe now, that it doesn't need to react to minor triggers as if they're major threats.
So it's about gaining mastery over those internal sensations.
Exactly. Learning to recognize them, tolerate them, and eventually transform them. That's central to recovery, according to van der Kolk.
And this ties into neuroplasticity, right? The brain's ability to change.
Yes. That's the hopeful part. Our brains aren't fixed. We can form new neural pathways. Through practices that promote safety and regulation, including somatic awareness, we can literally rewire our nervous system away from hypervigilance and towards calm and connection.
And other experts, like Resmaa Menakem, also emphasize this need for somatic understanding, for feeling things in the body.
Definitely. There's a growing consensus on the importance of embodied experience in healing trauma of all kinds.
So wrapping this all together, Chosn really does seem like it could be a valuable tool to support this somatic healing journey.
I think so. It offers that private, accessible space to practice tuning in, to use your voice, to direct your own narrative. It aligns really well with these core principles: awareness, titration, pendulation, vocal release.
Yeah, it encourages that internal focus.
But it's important to add a caveat here.
Right. Chosn is a tool, a potentially powerful one, but it's not therapy itself.
Exactly. Especially for significant trauma, working with a trained somatic therapist is often crucial. They provide guidance, co-regulation, and expertise that an app alone can't offer.
Where can people find qualified therapists if they're interested?
A good resource is the Somatic Experiencing International Practitioner Directory. They list certified SE professionals.
Good to know. Okay, so as we finish up this deep dive, maybe a final thought for you listening.
Yeah, perhaps consider this. What might happen if you started paying closer attention intentionally to the subtle messages your body sends?
Using something like audio journaling with Chosn or just taking moments to check in.
Right. Could that open up new pathways for you? Towards healing, towards understanding your own resilience? It's really an invitation to explore the wisdom that's already there, inside your own body. And if you are curious about trying Chosn, you can actually try it for free. Just call the toll-free number, +1 888-576-5669.
That number again is 1-888-576-5669.
Or, easy to remember, it's 1-888-JRNL-N-NOW. Makes it easy to remember.
1-888-JRNL-N-NOW. Give it a call, see if audio journaling resonates with you.